Hey guitar friends, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk about some of the worst bad habits that I see as a guitar teacher and how you guys can avoid them. Alright, I've been playing guitar professionally for about 20 years and teaching guitar full-time as my main income for about the last 13 years. And during that time, I've seen some of the craziest things you could possibly imagine. Just terrible bad habits. I'm talking about people coming in playing with their fingers on top of the neck. I've had students come in practicing upside down all week. I've had not one, not two, but 3 kids smash their guitar because they didn't want to practice. But today we're not going to talk about any of that stuff. I teach all ranges of guitar students, from people that are just starting out day one to professionals that come in that are actually gigging around town and whatever. This set of bad habits I see in almost every single player. So it's not rocket science. If you can just whittle down these technique improvements over time, you will get better a lot faster. So we're going to break this into 3 categories, all right? Left hand bad habits, right hand bad habits, and then some mental bad habits, or maybe just practicing bad habits that a lot of people seem to get hung up on. Let's start with our left hand bad habits. You guys might laugh, this is some serious cringe, but I see this all the time. People putting their thumb underneath the neck like this when they're playing. Don't do that. Also, I see a lot of people putting their thumb sideways on the back of the neck where the palm comes up on the neck like this, and the thumb is horizontal across the back of the neck. Terrible, don't do that. All right, so next thing I see very commonly, and this is one of the worst bad habits you could do on guitar, in my opinion, and that is putting your pinky underneath the neck like this. I see this a lot when people are starting to learn bar chords or power chords. But again, this is even something I see pro people play. Like, stop doing that. All right, the next one is what I heard a teacher once call bouncing. But really, it just means that you're lifting your fingers off the neck like this after every note you play. So it might look something like this. So every time you go to a note on your ring finger or your pinky, lifting up your pointer finger, right? See how it sounds kind of choppy if you're lifting? Not cool, don't do that. Especially on your first finger, we want to keep this guy basically touching the strings at all times. Not to mention the bends. If you're trying to bend with your ring finger and these fingers are out in the air or not helping, it's going to be a lot more difficult. Like, just try to do a pinky bend or a ring finger bend on a note without these others. I mean, it's possible, but very difficult. Okay, last left hand tip I'm going to give you guys, which almost seems silly, but please clip your fingernails. It seems kind of silly, but it really does hold a lot of people back. You can't even play like a C chord or an F chord or an A minor without muting some strings if your nails are too long, because it kind of forces your fingers to flatten out. So you can't get up on the tips of your fingers, and then you're muting the strings underneath instead of you're getting, right? No good. Now just take a look. Here's what they should be looking like. This is about as long as they should be. There shouldn't be really any white part sticking up on the nail. Now we're not going to talk about right hand nail technique. That's something for a whole nother video or series of videos, depending on what kind of music you're playing. But I think that a lot of times we overlook this on our left hand. So keep them trimmed, you're good to go. Okay, so now let's talk about stuff we can improve with our right hand. Number one problem I see with people that are already intermediate or even advanced players that needs to be fixed is that they come in playing everything with down strums. And I'm talking about specifically like melodic ideas, single note lines, or solo licks, playing all down picks. While it is possible to play those notes, it's just extremely inefficient. It's gonna slow you down, and in the long run, there's gonna be a ceiling to how fast you can play. And let's be honest, all of us want to be faster players. If this is a problem for you, it's really easy to fix. Just spend a little time every day practicing scales, arpeggios, whatever, but just go down, up, 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 down, up. The other thing with the pick that is a big problem is coming too far away from the strings when you play a note. There's basically two types of picking when you pluck a note, and that's free picking and rest picking, okay? Free picking is where you pluck down through the string and literally rest your pick on the next string down like this. A free pick is where you pluck through the string and the pick stops before it gets to the next string, but it doesn't come out away from the guitar like this at all. If you keep the pick tight and close, you'll be able to play faster, cleaner, not miss as many notes. But if you're plucking like this, coming way out away from the guitar, even if you're alternate picking, it won't matter. You're gonna miss a lot of notes. Hit a lot of wrong strings, etc., etc. The next thing is holding the pick incorrectly, and there's many ways you can do this. I myself did this when I first started playing guitar. I think I was holding the pick with my middle finger like this. Terrible. We really just want our pointer finger and our thumb. We want just a little bit of the pick sticking out underneath our thumb like this. I actually have a whole video on this. You can check it out here. I think one bad habit a lot of people have is they grip the pick up by the top. They're not holding enough, or they're holding the pick too tightly or not tight enough. If you're holding it too tightly, it's going to have a terrible sound like this. Now check this out. Just by changing my grip on the pick, playing the same thing, I'm going to loosen up a little bit. Crazy, that makes such a big difference. All right, next right hand problem is twisting your wrist this way while strumming big chords. So let's just take a G chord, for example. One thing that I see a lot of beginners do is on the down strum, they twist their wrist and then they twist their wrist backwards like this to come up. Not cool. Keep your wrist straight, relaxed, but straight, okay? So, none of this. All right, and the last technical problem that I see a lot of people do when they're starting out is tilt the guitar this way because it seems easier at first to see the notes on the neck like this. You can see exactly which string you're playing and you can see where your fingers go. So we're not playing a dobro, which actually you play on top like this. If we do this, it forces our wrist to come way over in order to play like a normal C chord. So just look at this position of my arm. You have to really jack your arm around in order for this to work. So just terrible. Hold the guitar straight up and down like this and lean your head over. You can tilt it back like 3, 4, 5 degrees maybe, and that should be enough to see where you're at. Okay, so now that we talked about some technical problems that are really common for people to overcome, let's talk about some of the mental problems. First problem that's not like a hand technical problem is not tuning before you practice. You should probably be tuning every time you pick up the guitar for a practice session. That way, the notes you play sound good. It always just blows my mind when students come back and their guitar is so out of tune, I couldn't even recognize a single chord they're playing. And I asked them, did you tune this week? And they say, no, I tuned last week. Well, I'm sure your practicing sounded terrible if you weren't in tune. So that's step one. Get a tuner. Learn how to tune your guitar. The other biggest problem is skipping your fundamentals. When you pick up your guitar to practice, the first thing that you should do is work on some drills, technique drills, or slow methodical work on all the concepts we just talked about throughout this video getting your grip better, curling your fingers, working on keeping your pick close to the strings after you play a note. All that kind of good stuff. All right, the last problem I wanted to talk to you guys about that I see a lot is just inconsistent practicing. So this could mean a lot of things too. Not practicing every day. If you're practicing 3 hours one day and then you skip a week, when you go back to pick your guitar up, you're going to forget all of that work that you did for those 3 hours last week. So it's basically like starting all over again. So I've said it before, I'll say it again. You need to practice every single day to make gains on the instrument. So not practicing every day, that's a big issue. Practicing the wrong material. If you only practice fun songs, you're not going to get any better at the actual instrument. You're just going to get good at playing those songs over and over and over. So if a goal of yours is to get better, you need to practice technique drills first, then go on to the songs, okay? I've got a whole video on how to structure your practice sessions. If that's something you guys want to get into, I'll link it up here. Playing guitar does take a lot of work, but it's not rocket science. All the stuff we talked about today, if you just slowly work on it, incorporate this stuff into your practicing, you will get better and it will go much, much faster. The thing is, you got to commit to it, okay? You have to want it, and if you do, it's here for you. Everything's laid out, okay? I hope you guys are enjoying your musical journey. Thanks for tuning into the video. Check out all the playlists and tutorials I've got down below. And please, if this video helped you out at all, please consider subscribing to the channel. It would really help me out. If you guys have suggestions for content you want to see, drop it in the comments below. Thank you guys for all the likes and comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.